I want to get your view. First of all, looking at the report which you released in August, you did say it may take 2 years for Nigerian banks to return to investment grade. What informs that view?
Well, if you look at the banking industry today, there are three fundamental issues: weak asset quality, weak capitalization, weak profitability. And the way we look at it in Augusto & Co., it's these three fundamental issues are not issues that can be resolved in the short term. It's an issue that will take longer. So what we're projecting is at least 2 years. And for the industry to be classified as investment grade, asset quality must be at least satisfactory, profitability must also be satisfactory, and there must be capital. And right now, the industry lacks capital. Right.
Okay, but what's your assessment of the recovery that we're seeing in the Nigerian banking sector right now? Because we do know that loan growth is very slow, particularly this year. In fact, it's negative to the private sector. And then what opportunities do you see for banks in the current economic environment?
When you say loan growth is negative to the real sector, I do believe the banks are lending, but now they're doing it on a selective basis. They've learned their lessons, which was a harsh lesson for the banking industry. And now what they're now doing is, because of the losses they've incurred, predominantly in the middle tier names, which were loans lent to capital market as well, the banks are now gone to the top end of the market, which you'll find big players like in the telecoms industry, the oil and gas industry. In terms of that, they would their profitability will not be as big as it was post-consolidation, because that segment, we know the margins are thin and competition is very stiff. But they are lending, but just that's their focus now.
Right, but I want to get a sense of that rating again.
Yes.
You did cite, like you mentioned, weak capitalization and credit quality as the main issues or concerns for you. But I think that issue was really more pronounced in the rescue bank, which had serious problems along those lines. But you now classify the entire sector as a result of what I think is more of the weakness of a subset of the entire industry. Isn't it a little unfair to downgrade the entire sector as a result?
When we do our ratings in Augusto & Co., the rating is industry-wide. What we do is we look at the industry as a whole. We're looking at both the strong names, the middle names, and even the low names, or the rescued names, as you want to call it. That's what we do in terms of our ratings. But when you say credit deterioration, it was more pronounced with the rescued banks, but the credit deterioration was industry-wide. I mean, even the banks that were not rescued, there was obvious deterioration in credit quality for them as well.
Okay, but what about the link between the banks? Obviously, with the interbank market, banks are lending to each other. Are you concerned about where we are there? Because we do know that the central bank has intervened to stabilize that sector.
We're not concerned in Augusto & Co. about that, because the CBN has guaranteed interbank. And because of that, I mean, it gives us, in fact, everybody, even the other banks that are lending to the rescued bank, it gives comfort. Because what it is that the central bank has said, I am going to guarantee all interbank placements till 31st December 2010.